Right, feature car time. Thanks to Need a Car, please meet Peter's labour of love. No, make that labour of like. A big block 67 Chevrolet Chevelle.
Just always liked that V8 rumble, sort of that nice pure torque and how they went and sounded as they took off up the road. So sort of started when I was 15, bought my first little Tirana, 1900 Opel motor, and always had that big dream of that SLR 5000, but never quite got there. And mother never wanted me to sort of have a V8 because of the danger factor that it sort of was in her mind, and so I took it up to Auckland and swapped it for a T-bucket. So she didn't talk to me for about 6 months, but I had my V8 and off we went. That was the start of it all. I just like that real sort of Aussie and American muscle look, that traditional look, sort of with the chrome bumpers and sitting nice height, ride height, big wheels, nice big exhaust, and if you can, the motor out the bonnet. If not, sort of making a statement that it's got something pretty angry under the bonnet.
Pete owns or has owned a fair few now that meet that criteria. The most recently completed, of course, being this one. But when he put good mate Clive from Advanced Four-Wheel Equipment to task locating a car out of the US, the Chevelle wasn't actually a car he was looking for, or even particularly liked.
No, not at all. I just said, keep your eye out for something over there that you think I might like. And that could have been anything, Mustang, Camaro. I didn't even picture a Chevelle. It's when he sort of told me, I've got a 67, I sort of looked up and I thought, oh, the 66 don't look too bad. Must be the same shape. And then I didn't realise the 67, 68, every year they changed. As time went by, this thing landed and I was like, oh Christ, I'm not really that fond of it, to be honest.
The Chev's best redeeming feature was its mint body. The car was previously stolen and recovered. The American owner lost interest and the 67 sat dormant under a cover for many years before being offered up for grabs. The deal was struck on Pete's behalf, and the Chevelle made its way to our shores to meet its new owner, who was still trying to decide if he actually liked it.
Oh, well, that went up and down a few times too. Probably once I'd lowered it down, put the bigger feet under it, I thought, oh, it doesn't look too bad. No rust was cut out of the car as such. Had a bit of bog in the back panel where obviously it had a few dents, so rather than knock them out properly, they just put plenty of poo in there, and so we just put a whole new panel and it's come up nice and straight now. And we decided to get it all tuned up in bits and pieces, and after going on the dyno, it was a wee bit of bad news. It was just a big lemon really. Come off the dyno running at about 260 horsepower at the back tyres or something, and that was for a 396 big block of alloy heads, so it sounded the part, but it was just a big pile of lemon going up the road. So yeah, that was the decision maker, to keep it and keep building it or flick it off like it was as just an old plotter. So that night the motor came out, that was the decision made.
A decision he had no shortage of encouragement in.
Well, that's where a good friend of mine, Mike Barry, comes into it from Next Level Automotive. Once you get talking to him, there's no halfway doing it. He's either all in or nothing, so sort of started from that point of conversation with a few beers, and next thing we know, we've got motors heading up and down the country for rebuilding and parts coming in, and it all come together very well.
The 396 now displaces a beefy 454 cubes and is home to a scat crank, HB rods, forged pistons and roller cam, topped with Edelbrock heads. The next trip to the dyno was again a painful one, but for very different reasons. All this newfound horsepower making mincemeat of its US-built driveshaft, also cleaning out the back of the transmission when it went bang. Pete had no option but to shell out for replacements, taking the chance to upgrade to a tough shift-kitted TH400 with high stall converter while he was at it. The combo now dishes up well over 400 horses to the rear treads, and in just 2 strops down Merimeri's quarter has clocked an 11.5. However, this big coupe is still very much a street car.
Oh, on the road it's great. Makes the right sound, it's comfortable, plenty of room for you and your mates in it. Made the trip to Beach Hop and back with no problems. And you get on Meri and pulls really well, apart from just having a lap belt. Taking that to a further step now and put a harness in it for next time, so hopefully you'll see it at Father's Day drags.
And all this talk sounds awfully like Pete is starting to sound a little fond of his Chevelle.
Oh, it's growing on me. Yeah, I'm still a real fan of the Aussie muscle cars, to be honest, but this thing here is not far behind them, so we'll see. well, it could hit the market, who knows, but it won't be this year. We'll have a bit of fun with it first and see how we go.